What we're jamming on now, Jay, what are you jamming on right now?
I am not a whole lot these days, considering circumstances, but a little bit of NBA 2K24 still. When I have time, just jumping in for a game or two when I have time. As I kind of do in that Halo slot. Where I just need a little competitive jump in game for a little bit, a few minutes here and there, type of thing. And then honestly, just Starfield. I'm probably like 85 hours in or so right now, and it's it's funny because I still have, I haven't completed the main story yet, the main campaign, and there's stuff to do with there, but there's just such exciting side adventures, not even side quests, side adventures that I'm doing that I'm like, I'll get to the main quest later. So I think I'm going to head there soon, but it's really just sucked me in because there really is like I've got to the point. I know last episode we talked a bit about like why like my role playing and stuff here, and so that's going very well. I made it, not to spoil anything. I made it to the bottom of the skill tree that I was trying to get to, so now I have like kind of a superhuman ability kind of a thing. So that's really cool and exciting. So that's like my goal is achieved. And now I'm just looking at other skill points as I continue to like build out the role play there and kind of decide what I want to do next, right? Because for me, I'm an action guy. I like to shoot. I like to fight. Like I want to go battle, things like that. And that's why I'm kind of on this superhuman tangent where I'm at in the game. But yesterday, I was just kind of with everything going on in life, I just kind of wanted to chill and relax. And so I'm just like not scavenging, but scanning planets, just going and like surveying and like taking quests from the constellation to go just explore and survey planets, which is not something I thought I would ever want to do. I liken it a little bit to like fishing in video games. Now, for me, that is not my jam, right? Like that is the opposite of action packed. That is the opposite of like competition.
It's just a way to exist in the world.
Exactly. Like
with the vaguest of purpose.
exactly. I was never one of those people who's like, oh, I want to crack open a cold beer and fish in ESO. No thanks. Unless there was like a goal attached to that fishing, I was not doing it. And I kind of thought surveying in Starfield would be like that. But it actually is very satisfying, like especially because I've leveled up my scanner, so I can scan farther, and just finding new life forms and things like that. I don't know why there's such good satisfaction when you survey a planet 100% too. Like just the way they do it, and just I don't know, not to spoil it. It's just very satisfying to me. So I found myself for hours last night just scanning and surveying planets and enjoying that, and kind of taking a side break, I guess, from what I was doing. Fun fact. I can't believe I did this in the game. I actually got married in the game as well. So I don't know, like there's multiple companions you can have in the game. You can go get new companions in certain cities and things, and each companion you get gives you different, abilities. They have different skill sets they bring, different things that they're good at. And one of the companions, like she's just been with me for so long, I had always just decided like, yes, I'm going to be like friend for life with this person. We're going to be great. It's going to be all good. And so I just kept, always being friends. And I guess I would steadily see like my status, like our companionship rise over time. Like they consider you a friend. They consider you a really good friend. And I'm, it was all not a big deal. And then one day I was just kind of like, what happens if I flirt? Just kind of like just a wild hair, like, oh, I wonder what happens if I flirt. But I guess I had raised my status up so much, my relationship level so much, that when I did, she was just kind of like, yeah, I feel the same way. And then all of a sudden it went from like, we were solid friends to like, we just got married very soon. Like, I don't know. It was like a quick ramp just based on like all that we had built up over time. But it's weird because like the level of emotional connection was just like, wow, this game made me feel this about this person that has just been questing with me for the last 70 plus hours or something. I don't know. Like it was weird, but like a fun thing at the same time. So now this person is always on my ship. They're always like a part of the party. I've actually expanded my bigger ship that I got through a fun quest. So she's always there. I brought on other companions who are actually going and questing with me. But because we were married, I'm like, all right, you're still rolling with me, but we're going to go questing with all these other people just to see what happens, with their relationships. But it's a blast, man. Having a blast at that game.
Okay. Are you not? you said you're off on the side thing. Isn't that's the one we were talking about where the big, like, a gripe about the main quest versus the side quest stuff is you want to finish the main quest first, otherwise all that shit, like, you don't have that stuff or something. There's something goofy about once you complete the main quest, your progress with the side quest stuff gets wonky in some way.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't know. You might want to tentatively Google around about that.
I haven't got there. I've been like afraid of spoilers, but I do know I am kind of at the point where I've done all the side quests that I really wanted to do, like the side adventures that I was like really, but I still have like several more that I'm like, I wonder what that's about. Like, I know a couple of them from like bits and pieces I've heard are really good side adventures. Like if I go down that path. So it's kind of like, do I really want to go like do this thing in this world? Do I really want to go experience this part of space? So I'm kind of deciding that. So maybe that is a good heads up that I should, check on first before I decide.
I'm pretty sure there's it. I don't know. Again, I haven't played it, so I can't even begin to speak. But I'm pretty sure I've seen something about like you want to finish the main quest with some level of priority because there's like I don't know if it's as simple as a loss of progress or something, but there's like some sort of something downside to dawdling on that.
Yeah, I actually heard something like that too. So I'm probably and last night as I was surveying, I'm like, okay, I think I'm ready to continue on main quest to see what's happening next. Because I've also heard, and we maybe even talked about it here, that once you finish the main quest, like the world opens up in some other kind of different way. So I'm excited to see what happens next. Great game so far. And then obviously haven't played anything about it yet, but happy ABK Day for all the Xbox people out there, closing the Activision Blizzard deal. So Activision is now part of Xbox. Go Xbox. Let's do it. Go. You want to play some celebratory Call of Duty, Josh? You want to?
I definitely
get down
don't.
Some shooter action.
There's literally. I don't think there's anything I want to do less. That's video game related, anyways. That's.
But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. What about you? What are you jamming on these days?
Well,
New Quest 3.
Right, yeah, I had a relatively tectonic shift tier change in my gaming landscape due to that happening on the 10th. So that it arrived on the 10th as not shipped on the 10th. That shit arrived on the 10th. Like if you pre-ordered it, it was there that day, which was cool, I suppose. And yeah, I got the 128 gigabyte model. Sticker price on that is $500, and it's. I mean, I'm gonna, the technology is fucking incredible. Like the upgrade is it's on all fronts. It's just like there's not a moment of like this wasn't worth it. Like everything is there as far as like even ergonomically. Like take it out of the box, like it comes in this much smaller box than the first one, than the 2 did. So. I don't know. When I opened that box, I expected it to look smaller, and it doesn't. Like sitting in the box and taking it out for the first time did not really. I was like, it doesn't seem that much smaller, But when you put it on, the depth of the visor is so, it's, and I don't know. I guess, it's probably not quite half, but.
Really?
That's a big difference.
That's a lot.
But yeah, exactly. So like almost half the depth is a big difference. And then most importantly, you don't think about it until you have this on, but the weight of it is impacted by how far it protrudes, of course.
I was just thinking that as you said it.
Right. So like the way it sits on your face now is infinitely less cumbersome, Even like I got Amy doing the mixed reality demo that I'm going to talk about here in a second last night, and even that was like she couldn't fucking play the 2 that long. Like even a walkabout game, she would be like, her neck would be tired at the end of it because it's just so big on her head, So that's a big difference just on like the ergonomics of it. But technology wise, I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Like, even like it's the technology, like it's just, and I thought the 2 was so intuitive and just so quickly, you're just so quickly integrated in gaming. I was so impressed by that when I first got it. But this one is so much better. You put it on, and because it is natively has this pass-through, full-color pass-through that allows you to just operate like you're not even wearing a visor, basically.
Right.
You don't have this, like, when you put on the 2, you have to, like, deal with your boundary and shit immediately. And if you're outside of your boundary, room scale or stationary, you got to spend a second to, like, make a new one or walk over to your way. You don't do any of that shit with this. Like, you don't need a boundary until you decide to go into immersive, which is just a one-click thing on the UI. Like, to go from full pass-through, you're existing in your world, you don't need to be in any boundaries because you can see and it's safe to do so. You know what I mean? But when you can click just one little button and it goes into the immersive mode, and then you have like a home environment just like you did on the 2 home UI, you know. So that it's just a quicker pick it up and go feeling, you know. And again, like your big hindrance with like being blocked out from the world and not being able, like, that's gone entirely now, you know. Like I think I was saying via text, it's like that hurdle is gone, you know. The pass through is big. Full. Yeah, the pass through is full. It's like wearing some glasses, you know. It's not. I mean, there's a little bit. I'm not going to say it's like full fidelity or anything. It still feels like a digitized iteration of the world to some degree, but not in any hindering way whatsoever. You can even look at your phone and stuff. I mean, with screens, it's a little goofy. It kind of has, the guys on the Let's Talk Godcast pod described it really well. It kind of like, when you can pick up your phone and you can look at it and like, you can see it fine, but it kind of looks like there's like a little tiny thin layer of water over it, is the way he described it, which I guess is also comparable to how he was comparing it to getting LASIK eye surgery. I guess when you first do that, there's like this kind of like a little bit of just a visual diffusion kind of to your vision for a while. So yeah, you can still interact with screen. You can watch TV even if you want, you know, as long as you're still. If you're like running around, it's gonna magnify that kind of diffusion a little bit on screens. But either way, you can see through it. You could easily like be playing a casual game from a seated position, like one of those puzzle games or Demio or something, and have the TV on and be able to see what's on the TV, like if you're watching the news or whatever, sports or some shit, you know.
I was going to say, you could have the game on in the background while you're demoing it.
Yes, right, yeah. Pretty fucking wild. So, you know, that is crazy. And then the controllers they lost the rings, so they're just the little things now, you know, so you don't have the rings, so they're much smaller. It's otherwise the same feel, though. They probably are also a little shorter, but as far as the way they feel in your hands and the way the sticks and the buttons and everything is the same. But I'm only using those maybe half the time now because the hand tracking technology is better with this too. So all you have to do to get rid of controllers basically is you just do this double tap of them and set them down. And then it goes into hand tracking mode. And you can see your hands, fingers, everything in the space, you know, and to do, you know, you have to learn, there's like a series of commands you have to learn to like select things. You have to like point at it with your hand and then do this tap with your finger, and like to bring up the menu, you like turn your hand over and touch your thumb to your palm to bring up the Oculus menu that you would hit the Oculus button for on the controller. So there's so you know there's some shit you have to learn to and obviously get savvy with to be able to really embrace that. But it works, and like I was playing Demio the other night with just my hands, you know, like crazy. But Cubism, the puzzle game, just playing that with your hands, you know, and it's fucking, and like I said, Cubism, that's a Demio too. You know, so you have the pass through on, so you can see the space. You don't have controllers in your hand. You know, it's close to not even being in VR, just doing a VR thing in your fucking living room, you know, without having really any technology between you and the experience, you know. It's fucking, yeah, it's pretty fucking, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy.
Hey, so you're grabbing your character, you're moving him around the Demio board.
Roll the dice and
controller.
Yes, right. And you when you throw the die doesn't stay on the board. You throw it and it you see it roll over onto the floor. Like your floor, not the floor of the game, your living room floor. It rolls over and it has the walls mapped too, so it'll stop against your fucking wall. Which is nuts, dude. It's nuts.
I told you I wasn't buying this freaking system, but dang,
it's wild, cool, dude. Man. It's fucking wild.
As toys go, that is.
And I sent you the video. I don't know if you watched it or not.
I did, man.
Okay, so that's a preloaded AR experience. Brilliant choice because it demos the space scanning technology and the AR technology really fucking well, I think. So yeah, it comes with this game, First Encounters. That is really, it's just like Amy was calling them puffins when she was shooting, when she was doing it last night. And that's what it is. It's basically it's you in your living room. This little spaceship comes down. Blows a hole in the ceiling. So that's the first thing. You open this thing, you open this app up, and you have to do this the first time anyways. You have to do this scanning thing where you scan all the walls in your room. And it it's super, it just does it. And you're just kind of confirming that it did it right. And in my case, it did it just fine. And so it maps all your walls, maps your ceiling even, because it's no longer just that infinite space because now we have a ceiling, And so it maps all that shit. Your floor too, of course. And then it also maps all the furnishings in your room. So it does that. You can see it just it looks like I'm maybe RoboCop or something. I'm thinking when I watched it, I was it's reminding me of I can't put my finger on it, but some sci-fi movie from the late 80s that I can't, Running Man or some UI from Running Man or RoboCop or something. So it's doing this. It scans everything in the room. So it knows everything in your room because you are going to be in your room. You are not in a virtual space in this case. It's augmented reality. So it's taking your actual room and all the shit in it, and then it's going to put game on top of all of that. And it's fucking nuts, dude. So the game starts and a ceiling or a hole blows in your ceiling. This little lunar lander thing comes and lands next to you on the floor. And then it doesn't, this is a little bit spoilery even kind of, but whatever. It's just a demo. You don't even, you sit there what the fuck is going to happen? You're waiting for something to come from it, but nothing comes from it. You start, you're sitting there for a second and then you start hearing, you might not even see them at first. You're hearing something slam into something, and you're kind of looking around, and you start to see in the wall it looks like something's slamming into the opposite side of it, and you're like, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden, one of them will break open, and these little fucking cute ass Pokemon looking things start jumping through, and you gotta shoot them. That's the whole goal, is to shoot these things. So they start coming through the fuck, and it takes your actual wall, and a hole is now in it, and you can see out into a space beyond some alien planet, right? And so those things start coming in from everywhere and start breaking holes everywhere. And then you can eventually you can also shoot holes in the wall too. So you can kind of break out huge spaces in the wall or ceiling or whatever and see beyond. And you can see where they're coming from then, from behind rocks, and they're hopping on rocks and shit. And you can shoot them outside of your space now, but they also start mobbing you and coming in, they're running around the floor and they're fucking zooming over your tables and shit. It's they fully map onto your actual space. And it is so fucking wild. It is so fucking wild. And, that's just, like I said, just the most basic of demo, whatever, of what that technology can be. But you immediately feel the potential and possibility of what that could be and do, Yeah, man, it is fucking cool. It is so fucking cool.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so, all the new shit is really cool, but it's an interesting, I've never had a game system buying experience that felt this way. I guess kind of PCs to some degree, but you don't think of that as you feel, I don't know, it's different. It's a different thing because it's a whole new, it should be a whole new system, and there should basically your library doesn't change over. I have my full library from the two. Yeah. So in one way that's cool, but in another way it also kind of takes some of the shine off getting a new gaming system because there's not this whole new line of shit that is now available to you / comes with it, and usually most systems there's like a limited offering to begin with, so that's not like some crazy shift or anything normally, but there is like this feeling of like a totally new thing that I didn't have access to a moment ago. Now I do, and that feeling is gone. There is new, like they there's a list you can look up of all, like they did a lot of games, did a texture refinement and stuff, like basically a visual improvement to embrace the new technology, which is infinitely better, of course, on the new processor and everything, on the new visor. So they like games like Red Matter that really that was already like Red Matter 2 was already like pushed the Quest 2 to its limits and was the most visually stunning thing. Like that, I went into that re-downloaded it and looked at it, and like it doubled the size of the game. I mentioned how that was going to change, and you can see it's fucking beautiful. Like there's this in the beginning of this, it's very thankfully at the beginning, at the beginning of a chapter, so I could just go right to it. There's like when you first get out of kind of the tutorial area of that game, and you take this fucking spaceship to this new space station thing, and you come down, you land outside of like on this platform outside of the space station, and it's above this planet, and there's the rings are around the planet. I'm sure I posted pictures from this when I was playing that. It's probably the first image you're going to see if you Google it too. It's just like such a visually stunning thing, even on the old technology. But like, yeah, you're above this planet that you can see. It's like kind of a, it's a gas cloud planet. So it's like the surface is just this constantly flowing, moving, gaseous clouds look to it. And then it has the rings around the planet that you're kind of like, and they're like, the way you are oriented to those rings on the planet, they look like they're kind of going around sideways. So you like see the rings right next to you, and you can see the particles and the rocks and stuff that form the rings moving in the rings slowly orbiting the planet, and then obviously the little tiny asteroids that are surrounding the asteroid space station that you're coming to. You can see all that, and it is immaculate looking. And again, the difference between looking immaculate on a flat screen and looking immaculate next to you is nuts, So just, yeah, I can't wait to see some of, these kind of games like that are these crazy environments at this level of visual clarity is going to be a really fucking crazy experience. And I can't wait for some of that. But none of that, no new shit's out really. And the last because of the limitations on the technology in the last one, like Walkabout, most games didn't try to do that even because it wasn't quite there, So there's not a lot of that stuff existing now. So it's not like I could just grab a game that I hadn't played that I wanted to play anyways. There's a bunch of shooters and shit, I'm sure, that I look beautiful in this that I don't want to play. But there's nothing new that's fully embracing technology that I want to play yet, There is, there's plenty of developers that timed their shit to this drop. The new NFL Pro Era comes out on the 16th. So what is that, Monday or Tuesday? So, that has a head-to-head in it too, dude. So might want to actually fulfill and grab that one. I mean, I showed that to, I don't think I mentioned this. I took this over to my buddy Danny's house and showed this to a bunch of my Danny and Dave, those guys out here. They'd never even touched VR in their life. And I got Danny's kid playing Walkabout mini golf and shit. So I was showing it off to them, and my buddy Dave got in. He's like, I want to see the NFL game. And he got in there, and he's like this 6'5" huge dude, and he's fucking, and he's like, I never played, this is the first thing he's ever played VR in too. So he's never even had a headset on. And he's getting into an NFL game as the quarterback. He was just fucking floored by the last one, So, this new one, I'm sure that would be fucking unreal. And then Seventh Guest, which I don't know if that's kind of Misty. I'm sure you didn't play it or like it back in the day. But yeah. Seventh Guest is like,
did not like Mist.
It's just one click over from Mist as far as that mid to late 90s point and click adventure renown, This one's like a horror theme though. So they did a VR remake of this that is finally dropping on the 19th. So those are two games next week that I'm going to jump into, and I'm sure they both were built with the 3 in mind, or at least I certainly hope so. I haven't seen anything to attest to that for sure, but I certainly hope so. So those are two things that are coming that are new that hopefully will show this off a little more, and I'm excited about. But yeah, dude, it's I don't know. I hadn't really fucked with it. Partly maybe just in anticipation of this, but I hadn't played a ton of VR stuff. Also because of Baldur's Gate. We've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate, so my gaming time was taken up by that. But between those two things, I hadn't really fucked with VR in a few weeks, and like I can't. I want to. It's just all I want to do now. You know, it's so all the new toys and bells and whistles about it are just so fucking. It's such an upgrade and such a change, and so exciting, so fucking exciting.
Nice. Well,
so a lot of that, of course,
stuff comes out soon.
Yeah, and so yeah, still playing BG3. Got into the second act now. Still fucking awesome. But not a lot to talk about there. Just RPG goodness.